Welcome back to Life on the 50. I'm your host, Nick Kleitch, and with me, which will be assumed per usual, my co-host, Cole Szynski. Cole, how we doing, man?
Nick, I'm good. I'm good. We're 1 week down. 1 week of college football that we don't have anymore. It's kind of like a bittersweet thing. We spend all this time waiting on it to get here and I don't know about you and how much you listen to other stuff, but like I get so sick and tired of listening to college football analysts and shows and podcasts and Twitter clips and Instagram reels and TikToks. And then it finally gets here and it's like, oh man, like that's 1 week I don't get to watch football anymore and sit on my couch for 12 hours. Uh it was glorious, dude. Like third I mean, you know this and we were texting all weekend, which by weekend I mean, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, last night, even in a blowout. Uh just everything I could want and more. Like the snacks, the games, the comfort of my own home. The AC was on. It was like nothing could bother me. It was my perfect zen.
Man, you just have a way of really setting the stage for these things, and I just love that about you. My take on this was it was like going on a first date with a girl or a guy that you really liked, and it just went really well. And you're coming back home, and you're like, you know what, I
Yeah.
fucking crushed that, or I'm just so grateful that that first date just went really nicely. Let's say you're getting a couple jokes in, both parties are laughing organically, we're not kissing and we're not
Couple
getting at
awkward
that.
moments. Couple awkward moments.
As always, maybe that's your experience, maybe not. I don't know. No, I'm just giving you a hard time, but that's truly what I felt was just a great first date, and you're eager for more, and we're gonna get more, right? I mean, that's the beauty of where we at in this time of the year.
I mean, yeah, what? Like it's week 1 of 16 and that doesn't even count your bowl games and playoff games. Like eh, there's so much to come and I'm ready for all of it. Um I'm just kind of like I don't want it to go too fast. And time flies when you're having fun. And especially Nick, once we get to the time of year where obviously this week is like the NFL kicks off on Thursday night and then Sunday and Monday night's the first Bears game for me and that's going to be probably soul crushing, but like once we get into this time of year where it's football is, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like repeat, do it all over again. And then we start even getting further into the fall, into the winter, and you get like those smaller conference MAC like Toledo versus Ohio games on a random Tuesday, or like you get Western Michigan playing Eastern Michigan in the snow on a Wednesday night. That's the best. That's the time of year that it's like, oh my god, like it's so much football and I can't stop it. Uh, I just I want to take it all in. I want to enjoy it and I don't want it to go too fast. That's all.
And staying present is the most important thing, and that's what we're trying to do week in and week out. Um, my gosh, just what a wonderful start to this beautiful thing we call college football. You know, you were sharing with me off air just the level of detail that you have in your notes, and just sharing observations about the games that were played, and a lot of really good ones, some surprises as well, which is the just a money thing and cherry on top to the experience. But I'd love nothing more, man, to let's go ahead and just dive into some happenings. There were some big happenings in college football. So if you have something that you want to take right off the top, it is all yours, my friend.
I have all the thoughts, and I want you to just stop me whenever you hear one that you want me to flesh out or you want to talk on, because I've got about 36 of these, and I'm going to save the University of Iowa ones and the Iowa State ones till the end, and that'll bridge us to hate week and what's coming up this week. But let's start Thursday night because Boise State played South Florida and got absolutely crushed. This
Oof.
starts my first thought South Florida looked great. Diving into kind of the rest of the weekend, Appalachian State, Tulane, and Louisville, all four of those teams, smaller conferences, smaller schools, good football programs, and those are my four teams that are like on my watch list for college football playoff to sort of be to be what Boise State was last year, right? Getting into the college football playoff because they win their conference. They're the best of those group of five teams. South Florida, App State, Tulane, Louisville. That's who I got. That's who I'm watching at least after week one.
That's fantastic. And I think just as a quick question to you, because you are the brains behind this beautiful podcast, is Scott Frost back at South Florida, or am I making that up?
He's at Central Florida, UCF.
Ah,
Which
that's what it was. Okay.
coincidentally, I do have a take on. My one thought on UCF was the UCF quarterback looks like Jackson Dart, who Jackson Dart played at Ole Miss, is now a quarterback with the New York Giants. The UCF quarterback looks like Jackson Dart if he was even more of a douche.
Oh, that's a beautiful take. I have no idea. I haven't seen the kid, but I just know how thorough you are in your work. So, the reason I appreciate you pointing these things out is because they deserve a little bit of attention, right? Some teams flat out came out in week one and were ready to go. Others were not, and they got punished. And I love that about the sport. And so I think that knowing that some of these teams came out with guns swinging, and you get into a week two where it's probably not the best team, and in a couple of weeks you can build some momentum. We might have some of these teams coming out 3, 4, 5-0.
Dude, I don't like a team like Tulane. Like I don't even know. You probably don't even know what's going on with Tulane. Tulane played Northwestern, right? Like that's a game. Who cares? Northwestern sucks. Tulane, good football program, but like we're not going to worry about them until they're ranked and late in the season and possibly making a run at the college football playoff. Last week, playing Northwestern was like the 20th anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Tulane asked Northwestern to like for the ability to wear white in that game to honor I think the Tulane team that played after the hurricane came through, like, and Northwestern denied it. And like the coaches of Tulane and Northwestern were at odds over being able to wear white. And Tulane was like so pissed off that they couldn't wear white in the game against Northwestern. It like that right there is what makes college football so great. Like that is so petty. It's so under the radar. You have to be a degenerate to know that's going on. I mean, I saw clips and clips and clips about this on Twitter because that's what my Twitter feed is just random college football stuff that's happening. And I don't even know how random it is. Like it's in the news at least, but it's things like that. That's ridiculous.
Right.
So I don't know where you want to go with that, but yeah, that was my take on UCF. That's the take on the small schools that I think are pretty solid or at least came out hot. Yeah, you can do with that what you will. Otherwise, I can move on to my next point.
Yeah, no further comments. I just appreciate the fact that you're giving them some attention.
Okay, how about this? Missouri also played. They played on Thursday night. They dominated Central Arkansas 61-0. I still think they stink. I don't believe in Missouri. I never will believe in Missouri.
Now, how did they conclude last year? Didn't they have, was it last year or 2 years ago that they were pretty highly touted and just kind of ended the season on a little bit of a cold spell?
So last year they ended up being ranked inside the top 10. I don't know like what their highest ranking was. Maybe it was like 8 or 7 or maybe 5 even. But the thing with them is like they didn't play good against good teams. Yeah. So they dominated the small schools just like they did to Central Arkansas last Thursday. But then they played actual good, stiff SEC competition and quite frankly struggled, to put it nicely.
Yeah, okay. Well, and I think that they're a program that, and a school really, and this is an outdated take for me 100%, but just a random school in the SEC. I felt like they were a team that should have stayed in the Big 12 the whole time.
100%.
And it's just a little confusing that they're even there, but I guess you have to have your bottom dwellers as much as your heavy hitters.
everybody like wants to do this move to the SEC, and because it's like such a good conference and the football history is so rich, and you know it's different in the SEC, or like whatever they're saying is that like it just means more or whatever, and it's so stupid because it's like, no, it's college football. Like, yeah, the SEC has been good because you've had the likes of Bama and Georgia and LSU, and yes, they're all great and that's awesome, but like you Missouri, or even like you Texas. Now Texas is a little different, but like you Texas A&M, like you really want to go to the SEC where you're competing with the likes of that, and you're probably gonna like the odds are that any team that moves to the SEC at this point is going to be a mid-level to bottom feeder team in that conference. That's just the facts because you have established programs in that conference now. I don't care, quite frankly, if it means more money, more TV deals, better branding, or more, more eyes on you. Like I'm a firm believer of good schools get recognized, and it's just a matter of playing it out.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see that in the Big 12, quite frankly. Like I think the Big 10 is good. I think the SEC is good. I think the Big 12 is going to have an awesome year. I think by the end of the year, we're going to look at that conference and be like, we probably should respect them a little bit more than we do. I'm a homer, and not quite to the level that we, respect the Big 10 and SEC. Like I'll leave those two big dogs where they lie. But dude, I just like I'm totally a proponent of a team like Missouri. It's like, why'd you leave? What are you doing? You're a Big 12 school.
They really are at heart, and they got to be kicking themselves in terms of competitive level too, because now you see a move like Texas, Oklahoma going to the SEC. Had you stuck around, and then you had your window of opportunity to maybe be a 4-5 loss team, and you've shot yourself in the foot. And really, all sports. I don't know what Missouri is really good in. I'm sure there's always some sport that they are good in, but yeah.
It's football. Like they beat up on the little kid, like, and then the big bully comes around and they get their teeth kicked in by someone that's bigger, stronger, faster, or just as big, just as strong, just as fast. Moving on to something that I think you'll appreciate a little bit more, just knowing your allegiance to Iowa and probably hatred for this team and probably this player. Dylan Raiola may be a problem, and not in like a good way. Like I think he's not good. I watched the game, Nebraska-Cincinnati. It was at Arrowhead, neutral ground. Cincinnati is not going to be a very good Big 12 team. And the fact that Nebraska, like, sort of struggled, quite frankly, to score against the Cincinnati defense, albeit Cincinnati has one of my favorite defensive players in the country, Dante Corleone, I believe is the guy's name. Like, big defensive tackle, just big, huge, fat guy, like, super strong, though, and eats up blocks. Dante Corleone is so awesome, but this is about Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola stinks. He does the whole Patrick Mahomes thing. There's the whole comparison. That broadcast of Cincinnati and Nebraska at Arrowhead, where they kept showing Patrick Mahomes and, hey, good for Travis Kelce, good for Taylor Swift. They got engaged. Happy for them. Love is love. I love love. But, like, do we really need to be quite frankly, they were X and O. Like, they were doing X's and O's on the broadcast of when you could see Taylor Swift's ring. Going back to this is about Dylan Raiola, we were doing the whole Patrick Mahomes, Dylan Raiola comparison thing. Dylan Raiola is bad, Nick. Dylan Raiola is a bad quarterback at this point.
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, you can look alike with, many people. I've been told I look like Bradley Cooper. That doesn't mean I'm Bradley Cooper. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just got to quit with this kind of false advertising, giving their fans false hope. Now, I will give Nebraska the benefit of the doubt in terms of how they end up, but my simple request to them or statement to them is you prove to me every week who you are. And if you go out and get smashed, then I know who you are. But if you can win a couple big games, maybe I'll give you some roses occasionally.
I mean, they literally won 20-17 against Cincinnati, who, unless I'm so wrong about what I'm seeing with my eyeballs, which I don't know, they have to play Michigan in a couple weeks, who I'm super high on Michigan and Michigan's quarterback. They've got to play Minnesota, who I think's a quality team. They've got to go to they got to play USC. They got to go to the West Coast and play UCLA. They've got Penn State in Happy Valley, and then you finish with Iowa. It's like, dude, you're struggling with Cincinnati, and you got a Big Ten conference schedule to worry about. Like, I'm sorry, but to me, it's not a Nebraska problem because I think Nebraska has a lot of good things going for them. They've got Matt Rule, head coach. I think he's a really good college head coach. I
Great
think he's
head
meant for
coach.
college. I think there's talent on the Nebraska roster, both offense and defense. But Dylan Raiola is a distraction. Dylan Raiola is a liability, I think, as far as that offense goes.
My. I appreciate your honesty with that. I think that's what makes Life on the 50 a great show. I'm not going to go as far as you in the terms of the comments. However, I can see where you're coming from. I do, and this is a thing, as you alluded to, Cole. I kind of need Nebraska to be somebody for Iowa. And this
True.
is how it always kind of plays out, is like I see a team like that, I don't like them, right? It's like, just eating yellow snow. It's like kind of like you don't want to do it, but at the same time,
What embarrassing.
if they're good, then that only helps, my stock, which I can get it. You're a Big 12 guy through and through, so understandable. Now, I will make this very clear, and it might be slightly repetitive, but him and Mahomes should never, ever be spoken together in the same sentence, ever.
No, no. And like, I mean, that's the thing is like, he this is going to be a really nerdy term on my part, but like he's essentially cosplaying Patrick Mahomes. He's dressing up as Patrick Mahomes every week for Halloween. And it's like, because
Literally.
he's doing the hair, he's doing the throwing routine, and the like when he's getting the play call, he's like doing the fingers like Patrick Mahomes does, and like the twitch. And I'm just like, dude, can we like stop with the Patrick Mahomes stuff? Because this kid hasn't even proved himself at the college level, let alone the pro level. Like, we don't even know if this kid's a pro quarterback, like
As a
pro level quarterback.
As of right now, that's absolutely confirmed that he's not, but we will see. Time will tell.
At this very moment, like, I don't know who I would be drafting higher, knowing that Shador Sanders went in the 5th round. I don't know if I'd be drafting Dylan Raiola higher than that.
Oh, I wouldn't draft him at all. That's my opinion.
Quick question before I'm gonna rattle off a few topics or thoughts just because they're probably be quick hitters and not as much
Sure.
conversation pieces. But you said something there. Are you like a Big Ten stan? Like if they're not playing Iowa, are you like, I want a Big Ten team to win? Whether it's if it's a bowl game between Michigan and Missouri, or a early season game where it's I don't know, Nebraska or Michigan, Oklahoma, that's like going to be played this week. We'll get to that game. Like, are you like, I want the Big Ten team to win just default?
100%. Yeah. And the reason I choose to do that, first off, I'm someone that I like a lot of pride with my team. And it just so happens my team is in the Big Ten. So I want the Big Ten to succeed overall. But number two, if you're not committed to a program or a conference, I think that you're a weak fan. And so when my teams in the Big Ten are going off and going into battle, now the only caveat I will say is it's going to take a couple of years yet for Oregon, UCLA, USC. It's very hard for me to say that they're a part of the Big Ten, even though obviously I know that they are. But yeah, any one of
Yeah.
those traditional teams, when they're out playing other teams and other conferences, I absolutely want them to win.
Okay, but you're a traditionalist. Like, even when we get into conference play, you are like, if it's Nebraska, Oregon, like, you want Nebraska to win because they're more of a traditional Big Ten team.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Moving on. We'll get back to the Big Ten and teams there, but moving on. Just some quick hitters. Connor Wigman he was a Texas A&M quarterback. He's at Houston now. Does he make them relevant? I don't know. Maybe Houston was bad last year, but he's a good quarterback, at least in the Big 12. It adds another quarterback that's quality in the Big 12. Caden Salter, who is the quarterback at Colorado, and Jalen Daniels, who is the quarterback at Kansas. They're just both shifty. That's what I wrote down. Caden Salter, Jalen Daniels equal shifty. Go ahead.
So watch the Colorado game. I didn't catch as much of the Kansas game. I just caught some highlights. There are some on the side of Colorado. There is a lot of youthful mistakes, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I think that guy's got some fucking raw talent to lean into. So he's a guy to keep an eye on. The Kansas team, you already said this, so it's not even my take. Don't
I know
sleep
where you're
on
going.
them. Yep, don't sleep on them.
They are so scary to me. And like, there's another team in the Big 12 that it's going to be towards the bottom of my notes that's scary. But like, this Kansas team is outright scary because they have a 6-year experienced, athletic, fast, shifty, quick quarterback that can throw, like Lamar Jackson, maybe like a step or two down from Heisman Lamar Jackson. Colorado, the quarterback there, he's a senior, but like, I saw what you saw, and there was a lot of early season mistakes that I think worked themselves out later in the year.
100%.
Okay, moving on. Yes.
Yes.
So next bullet point was during the Tennessee-Syracuse game. High scoring game. Did not expect that out of a Tennessee-Syracuse game, especially a Tennessee team that lost their starting quarterback. Had a kid playing his first game again, which brings me to another point that we'll get to. But Tennessee has like 3 running backs that are awesome. Their number 3 running back, I can't remember the guy's name. I think it's like Peyton Lewis or something, number 2, absolutely trucked one of the Syracuse defenders at the goal line that made me jump out of my seat. Like, I literally was right there watching the game. I jumped out of my seat and screamed like, oh my God. It was that big of a collision and hit. And just all game, I was impressed by the Tennessee running backs. I just love that.
It wasn't a game I had a chance to watch, unfortunately. However, I appreciated that Tennessee was great. And it's just nostalgia when there's massive contact at any point on the field. You know, we've gone so far away from just real old school football. And I have a quick sidebar, and then I'll get it back to you, Cole. There was a video I watched on Ray Lewis, and they were talking about if he could play in today's NFL or today's college game. And he goes, there's not an enforcer like they used to be. And then that was obviously a cue into his highlight reel. And I was just like, you know what? Anytime I see some high volume contact this year, it's going to make me happy. So I should probably go YouTube that when we're done and watch that massive collision, because I'm all about it, man.
Oh, so good. Leading into, well, I'll stick on the Tennessee-Syracuse game just really quick for my last point there. That game took forever because it was so high scoring. Like, it took forever. Like, it felt like that game was never going to end, and I was totally fine with it. I was totally fine. Like, if that game was still going on right now, I'd be watching it. But it just like other games were going into the half. They were starting the second half. We were getting into the fourth quarter, getting late in the fourth quarter. And that game just kept going. It just kept, like, I'd look over and it'd be like, there's still 12 minutes in the third quarter. And like all the other games are finishing up. They're wrapping up. They're done. And it's like, it was just like the scoring, the offense, the like everything just kept that game going. The clock just didn't move. I don't know how they got out of that game. It was a marathon, which that's cool. That, like, I mean, in terms of both of those teams, that gets you ready for the rest of the year in my mind. Sticking with the SEC, and this is where we get into the big game from the weekend. At least we'll touch on it to start, but the amount of inexperienced SEC quarterbacks, or at the very least quarterbacks playing for a new team in the SEC, was insane. I don't know. I may be missing one or two, but you had Texas, you had Florida, you had Tennessee, you had Georgia, you had Alabama, Auburn, Mississippi, Missouri, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma.
Jesus Christ.
All had quarterbacks that had that were brand spanking new, either coming from high school, coming from the transfer portal, or had simply not started has started less than 5 games in their career. I mean, the Florida kid didn't start until halfway through last year. Obviously, Arch Manning, who he's been the big talking point of every college football thing in across the country. I feel like we've exhausted all takes on Arch Manning in Texas and Ohio State at this point, but He's gotten in games, we just hadn't started games. It's crazy the amount of inexperienced quarterbacks that the SEC had, which is why I think you're going to see some serious shakeup in that conference.
Wonderful, wonderful take. And I would add on this, and I apologize, Cole, if this is bleeding into a point you might have later in the show, but week one, so many people forget and take for granted how rusty teams can really come out. Like I heard such a slew of comments towards quarterbacks that were on the losing side of their week one bouts. And granted, Iowa was in this category, so I feel a little bit more personally attacked, but it just drives me fucking crazy. They think that they're just going to come out week one, 300 yards, 4 tugs. Like everyone is beginning their journey in week one. And with the inexperience that you're alluding to, it may take 3, 4, 5 weeks before we get going. But to put all the pressure on these young cats, I mean, to your earlier point, it's going to make for an incredible season of unpredictability. And number two, we're going to figure out who can sink and swim. There's going to be some that rise to the top and some that are going to potentially lose their job.
Well, and how this whole thing is structured now with multiple, like, a 12-team playoff and multiple teams, especially from the SEC and the Big Ten, like getting in because of the at-large bids, like not just having to win the conference to get into these certain things. It's okay to lose a game or two,
right?
Especially if you're one of these teams that's preseason ranked really high. Like that's why I think everybody has said it at this point too. But it's like the preseason rankings are total bullcrap. They mean nothing. Alabama was a perfect example of that.
I would say Texas was too. They dropped to 6 or 8 or something?
You know what though? Texas is going to be fine. Like Texas is going to be fine. I have to say, if you're a betting man, like I would totally still bet on Arch Manning to win the Heisman because you're never going to get him at better odds. He's only going to get better as the year goes on. He played those are 2 true top 5 teams in college football that will both be in the college football playoff. Mark my words. It's literally just a matter of that was week 1. You're knocking the rust off. It's live bullets. I think Arch Manning is going to be totally fine. I think, yes, Ohio State, like they won round 1, but there's going to be a round 2. Yeah. And you better believe Ohio State is going to have to game plan for a completely different player in Arch Manning when they face off again later in the year than they saw this last week.
And I know when we did our first episode, it was a bad non-motivational take that I had about the Texas Ohio State game, but I will stand firm with it. And let's just wait until week 5 or week 6 when both of these respective quarterbacks are actually putting up the numbers of 250, 300, 350 with 3 tug type of games, because it's coming. But you just can't come out week 1 with top 5 defenses and think that you're going to fucking light up the tour. Like it's not. I mean, even the Ohio State quarterback, they warmed him up with just some 5-yard throws. I mean, it wasn't like he had a brilliant breakout game either, you know?
No, that game was, and this is getting to a point that I had on here. Like that game was a defensive masterclass by both sides, quite 100%. Frankly. A defensive masterclass. Like full transparency, I try to be the all-knower of college football, like in things happening there. Matt Patricia, who was the defensive coordinator when the Patriots were at their height of the dynasty in the NFL, and was a NFL head coach for the Detroit Lions, now, albeit not very successful. But like the guy's an awesome defensive coordinator. He's the defensive coordinator. He's the defensive coordinator for Ohio State. Like that guy game planning against the quarterback that has never started a game, and he's at Ohio State week 1, like trying to figure it out. Of course, the Ohio State defense is going to look awesome. Not to mention the Ohio State defense has at least 1, if not 2, All-Americans on that side of the ball.
Exactly.
Texas's defense I thought was awesome too. Like I thought their defense looked awesome. I thought both defenses looked awesome. to me, it was like no duh that this game isn't very high scoring, and it ended up being kind of a snoozer offensively. But like, I'm totally cool with that. I have come to sort of expect that kind of thing from teams early on in the season, both college and pro, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But dude, I like the defenses in that game were so much fun to watch. I just can't get over it. But again, buy stock in Arch Manning if you can, because you'll never get it at a better price.
Well, and just, I mean, this is going to sound like kind of a petty take as well. Just give the kid a little bit of grace. Give all the kids a little bit of grace. I mean, the competitor in me says otherwise, but we're fucking week one of all these inexperienced young guys. Like, just wait. They're going to start settling in, and they're going to be the players that we think that they're going to be playing. Now, I really also, actually, no, I'm going to shut up because we'll probably get to this game, and I'm not going to say. I'll let you lead me, Cole.
No. What game do you want to get to?
I wanted to give a quick shout on the complete other end of the spectrum to South Carolina's quarterback. So you told me about the SEC show on Netflix. I did watch some of it, not all of it. We're getting there. But that guy, game one, I was very impressed with. So watch out for him. And I think you even said he was a sleeper Heisman pick last week too, if I do.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a sleeper Heisman pick. He is like, he's up there. Like, I think he's probably a top 5 Heisman favorite right now if you're sports betting or if you look at the odds. Like, he's legit. And yeah, that game obviously happened Sunday. But no, Lenore Sellers, South Carolina quarterback, that dude is going to, like, South Carolina is the dark horse team in the SEC, if you want to talk dark horses, because of Lenore Sellers. Like, he could, if he continues to progress and, the ball bounces their way a few times, he could make a run through the SEC. Like, that team is so good with him at quarterback.
And based on the other teams that I witnessed outside of Georgia, I mean, fucking A, man. The South Carolina Gamecocks, they should be not overly optimistic, but they should be very confident going into this season and just go week by week and see if they can chip off some really nice wins. Because, again, we said last week, they were in most games last year against very good opponents. So they simply do need, Cole, like you alluded to, a couple balls to fall their way. And we might be looking at a 2-3 loss team going into the end of the year. So let me get you back on track. I know you're a very organized guy.
Hold on. South Carolina, just so you know, South Carolina, like, they started with Virginia Tech, right? Won that game by 13. Their schedule the rest of the way goes like this. They go South Carolina State this week, Vanderbilt the following week. Then they've got Missouri, Kentucky, LSU on October 11th. That's a big one. They've got Oklahoma the following week, October 18th. Then Alabama the week after that. Then they go Ole Miss. Then Texas A&M. A weird game against Coastal Carolina in the second to last week of the season, and then Clemson to finish it out. Like, that's an insane schedule. But dude, if they can knock off a few of those wins, like, they could be a 2-loss team and get into the college football playoff. That's such a good, that's such a tough schedule. But that would be, if they're a 2-loss team, those are some quality wins that they're going to stack up in there.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be curious to know which games that they are not favored in, or, very close to being favored in. But
we'll see.
Yeah, you're going to gather on the Life with the 50. There's going to be some reoccurring themes, and I think this is going to be one. Let's keep tabs on South
Carolina is going to be a reoccurring theme on this show for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's where we get into the window of, like, the Iowa State game was going on, then the Iowa game. We'll get to that, but at the same time, just before we get to those two teams and really get into this, the Florida State-Alabama game, I mean, the Florida State quarterback, this is literally my note, Florida State QB is electric, Heisman ? I was watching this game and literally in real time placed a bet for him to win the Heisman at 100. He was 100-1 odds. And by the end of the game, he was like 30-1. That's crazy, Nick.
That's insane. I'm not even a bettor, and that sounds insane.
That's crazy. I bet $1 to win $100. And by the end of the game, it was $1 to win 30. That's insane movement.
Oh my God. Well, just to dive right into that, first off, who is Alabama? Alabama has not looked good at all. I thought this was a game that they would not blow them out, but I thought they were going to be in command. DeBoer's second year, he's got I think another coach that came in, but they were just not the Alabama of the past, which is fine. Saban has retired, but I couldn't tell if it was a worse Alabama or a great Florida State team, but from the looks of it, if that quarterback from Florida State can keep it rolling, they're another team that they might just be storming back in college football, folks. Alabama might be a 5-loss, 6-loss team this year.
So my second note on this game, and it's the only other note that I had, was post Saban, Alabama has been bad. Post like without Nick Saban, it's incredible how bad Alabama has been. And quite frankly, like if people want Alabama discourse and to hear more about this, like you can listen to virtually any show in the world and like you can get takes on it because everybody's talking about it. I don't know if it's as much about or Florida State being good as it is about Alabama being bad. Like I don't know which is which. Was that game like is Florida State a top 10 team in the country? Because that quarterback was at Boston College a year ago and like doing a lot of the same things that he did in this game against Alabama, but they were like mediocre at best. They were Alabama, like their starting quarterback's a 5-star kid. He's a 5-star quarterback. You know, like they have 5-star athletes on that team. It's not like Saban left and all the 5-star athletes left. Like they've got a lot of good guys playing football for them that are going to be high draft picks probably come the spring. So like, I don't know. Like I'm so interested to see how each of those teams respond and like what they do this week because neither of them have big opponents. They're both like cupcake games, and I'll be watching because it's like if Florida State comes out as a dud, that's going to tell me a lot about like where they're at. It's like that'll tell me immaturity, and it's like they got up for a big game but then didn't respect their opponent. They didn't respect their lesser opponent, and that means up and down season to me. If Alabama comes out and it's like they struggle, even if they win, but like they struggle, ooh boy, you're probably right. Like we're looking 4 or 5 losses because they're going to run a gauntlet of teams that, you know, nothing close to what Florida State is going to give them. Like it's going to surpass Florida State by miles and miles. I just like, I don't know. I didn't have a great sense. It was just a surprising result. And it was just like, what am I watching here? I won't really know that until next week.
Yeah, I hope it's a game we can look back at in a couple of weeks and understand which of the storylines is more accurate. I will say this, though, being a college football fan, knowing that Florida State won it all in 2013, I believe it was, with Jameis Winston, there is not a program out there, maybe outside of Clemson, I might have a poor memory right now, but who needed a big-time win like that. So it does way more for Florida State than it does for Alabama. Alabama's in boiling hot water right now, though.
Florida State was 2-10 last year.
Exactly. Like this game was massive for their program to get back on track.
Okay. Moving on, we get into LSU Clemson. My thought there, my just initial thought, like before the game even got started, was the fact that both of those teams are Tiger mascots and they both play in a stadium called Death Valley is so stupid to me. Like two teams that are Tiger mascots and they're in the South, like South Carolina or wherever Clemson is, like they consider themselves in the South. Louisiana is the epitome of being in the South. Death Valley is in California. Like actual Death Valley is in California, thousands of miles away. And it's like 120 degrees there right now. Dude,
that's so funny.
I'm sorry. I just think it's so stupid. I think both Tigers and like, we're going to do the Death Valley and be Tigers thing. It's like somebody figure it out and change that. I know that won't happen. I know that's an asinine thing to say, but like realistically, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah, and after watching that SEC show that you had mentioned, I do think it would have been bigger for Clemson to win this game than LSU, but it appears very early yet that the defense from LSU is finally kind of shaping itself a little bit. It sounded like they had a couple rough years there, but I'm still waiting for Clemson to show me in the NIL era that they're competitive. I mean, I know that's kind of abrasive to say, but Dabo was one to make a very evident statement about the NIL situation. And I understand and respect his stance in terms of recruiting and program development. But where's your next big win coming from? Like, you had a great stretch there. Don't get me wrong. Couple natties. That's great. Couple great quarterbacks. That's also great. But where have we been since then? Just a question.
Sure. I mean, the one thing that Clemson showed me, again, before the game even got started, their entrance, some people might say it's stupid. I think their entrance is like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like how they enter the stadium, they load buses fully padded and like in full uniform. They load like 4 buses, drive around the stadium to the other side where then they run down the hill. I think it's I think it's awesome. You load the buses, you have the police sirens that like bring them around to the other side of the stadium. You hear the sirens from outside the stadium. You know, like, holy shit, they're coming. The music's going, the lights are going, the team starts to like fill up that tunnel. That then you go down the hill. They run down the hill, they touch the rock, whatever, before they run down the hill. Like, to me, that is so awesome. That's got to be the coolest thing ever.
That is just simply the epitome of college football. That is
Yeah,
college
dude.
football right there. You're not getting that in the NFL.
No, the pageantry and like the excitement level is totally different in the NFL. Like we're not doing that in the NFL. It's too corporate. It's too buttoned up. Uh okay, any other takes from you on just LSU Clemson?
No, I thought it was again a week one game where in the future these offenses might explode out a little bit, but whoever won that game, similar to Florida State, similar to Miami Notre Dame, which I know we're going to get to, the winner is winning, and they won, and it's going to eventually give a little bit of value. Sorry, that's not the right way I wanted to describe that,
Wow.
but you understand what I was saying.
I will say I thought that Garrett Nussmeier, quarterback for LSU, I thought he really turned it on in the second half. Like I think we saw him kind of find his footing, which to me in my mind could mean early success for LSU. Like
Mhm.
they may be ahead of the curve a little bit before everybody kind of finds their identity and figures out who they are. Like I think that's awesome. I will say the other thing is that holy crap, when Brian Kelly is happy, it makes me cringe. I hate it. Like he's unbearable anyway, I think. But when he's like happy and like they win and he's doing a post game, interview on the field, like right afterwards, or I see clips of him doing press conferences this week, like him being happy is just so awful to me.
Oh God, just hearing his name being said is enough for me. I hate
All
the
right.
guy. I've already expressed that on our last episode. I just hate the guy. I think he's this old school mentality of yelling to yell, and I think it's ridiculous. But
Okay. I'm gonna hit on some quick ones really quick, and then I'm gonna hit quick ones really quick. Nice, Cole. That's great.
I just said
And then we'll
winners
get
win the winning game or whatever. So we're both red
right.
hot right now.
We'll get moving into Iowa State stuff. Michigan quarterback, I already said once. I love the Michigan quarterback, Bryce Underwood, freshman. Dude was throwing blocks on the goal line for his running back. I think that's awesome. That's sick. It's not sustainable. Don't do it anymore. Like when you're running, slide you down. Don't take contact. But I thought he proved to be just as legit as anybody at this point. Um, let's see. Moving on. There's a kid for Texas A&M who I think he's a wide receiver. His name's Casey Concepcion. I love that name. Sweet name.
Yeah, badass
Uh,
name.
there's a Michigan defensive lineman that wears number 26. I think that's hilarious. That's a running back number, and seeing a big boy wear 26 on the D line is just
And
hilarious.
stretched out too, probably.
That's super funny. Texas Tech. They played a nobody. but their offense is so scary. Like their offense is ridiculous. I'm pretty sure Texas Tech like spent the most money in NIL this offseason to bring in just new guys that are offensive juggernauts apparently, and apparently their offense is going to be just insane.
Let's keep
But
tabs.
watching them was just it was a barrage.
I love it. Let's keep tabs.
Okay. Get into the later games. Sam Levitt, quarterback for ASU. Again, he's on my hate list, but that's only because he's good, and I don't like it. It's annoying to me. ASU, like I have to hear about ASU from several people that down here I work with or friends with that went to ASU. ASU's good. They obviously beat Iowa State last year in the conference championship. Like Sam Levitt is the second coming, and Kenny Dillingham is the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Like,
yeah.
Good God, I got to hear about this stuff so much, and it's so annoying, but Sam Levitt is really good. Everything inside of me wants UCLA to fail. Everything inside of me wants UCLA to fail. I just, I hate them. I hate Nico Iamaleava, or whatever his name is. I thought he was going to be awesome last year at Tennessee, and then he wasn't awesome at Tennessee and switched up and left.
And a brat. Yeah, he's just a brat.
Everything inside of me wants them to fail. And then the only other thing that I had, which I mentioned towards the beginning of this, but the other scary team in the Big 12 is Utah. Utah looked so goddamn good.
Yes.
They looked so goddamn good, dude. They played UCLA, so it was kind of like doubly good for me.
Right.
But 43-10, 43-10 on UCLA, spanked them. Just a whomping. Put a whipping on that booty.
And the fact that this is why I love podcasting with you, Cole, outside of many reasons, is because I had made a comment earlier about teams needing a win, a big win. Oh. And while UCLA isn't going to be highly touted, the Utes needed to get back on track. And based on what I saw in that game, not only are they back on track, but the fucking engine is warming up hot.
I hate it. I hate to see it. It's really scary. I don't like it. Because that's a team, man. If they get hot, they're going to be coached really well. And if you're playing them late in the year and they're on a roll, good luck, buddy. Good luck, man. Iowa State last year got really lucky. We caught them at a bad time. Oh man.
Yeah.
If we have to see them, I don't even know. Let me pull up Utah's schedule really quick. We go. We don't play Utah. It doesn't look like, thank God, but they go you got Texas Tech, Utah in a couple weeks. You got ASU, Utah in the middle of October. Utah, BYU in the middle of October. Colorado, Utah in late October. You got Kansas State, Utah in late November. You finish with Utah, Kansas, which could be a massive deciding game for the conference championship game. Who knows? I hated seeing Utah look as good as they did, but man, was it fun to watch.
They got the work cut out for them, but I think that similarly to South Carolina, they have every right to go take this thing.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Should we do Iowa? Should we do Iowa State? Should we bridge what's coming up this week? We're here. Should we do this, Nick? You want to do this right now?
I do. There's one comment I would like to make, unless we are planning on coming back to this, but I'm not going to say the most unbelievable catch in the Miami Notre Dame game, but there was an absolutely insane pre-halftime catch made by just a savage of a receiver. Just a quick couple comments on that game in particular. First off, we really wanted the Irish to smack them in the mouth. They got their quarterback, there's no doubt. They got the fight, but they got a lot of things to work on. And then, unfortunately, Cole, we do have to check ourselves here. Miami looked pretty good. They looked pretty good overall.
I hate Carson Beck, dude, so much. I hate him so much.
So frustrating.
I hate him so much, Nick.
But the thing is, we got to call a spade, and they took care of business at home. So we'll see what the future holds for them. But Marcus Freeman will get the boys back and going, but Miami might be somebody this year.
I'm glad you checked me on this game, because the one thing that was weird, and they brought it up on the broadcast, so this isn't like an original take, but it was kind of weird, and I was kind of questioning it myself, is like the Notre Dame running back, Jeremiah Love, is supposed to be the best running back in the country. You know, he's supposed to be the guy that's like leading the charge for Heisman favorites amongst the running backs in the country. Even though we kind of know it's a quarterback award. I don't know what was up with him. I don't know if he's banged up. I don't know if he was hurt, if he was like dealing with something, if he was just fatigued and like not in football shape yet. But like he wasn't himself. And I know that probably doesn't mean anything to you, or probably doesn't mean anything to anybody that listens to this, because it's like, well, what does he look like to begin with? But like he's supposed to be the guy this year. And it was weird that they just like almost couldn't get like the running game going. And I'm like, okay, is that again early season? Like we got to knock the rust off. But they should be a team. Notre Dame should be a team that's like running the ball down people's throats and dominating games through the run game. Like they shouldn't be having to go through the air and put pressure on CJ Carr, who's their quarterback, to win games for them.
Yeah, and that running back had, I think he was either in the semifinal game or in the national championship, one of the most beast mode runs of like college football season history. Like I just remember him breaking a couple tackles, jumping out the goal line. So I'm going to chalk it up to a week one woe. Maybe the scouting report was that they could throw it on him a little bit more than run it on him. But a guy like that, you'd think they'd feed him more like a Reggie Bush type, where he needs to be touching the ball 25 times a game.
I mean, I'm looking at the stats right now. He only had 10 carries for 33 yards. He's averaging 3.3 yards a carry, but like that's just not enough to me. The CJ Carr, their quarterback, had 11 carries. He had more carries than their top running back.
Yeah, that's got to be a scheme or something. That does not seem right to me. Great take
weird.
on you, though. Great take
by
you.
It's a weird deal. Anyway, sorry. You go wrap up that game for us if you want.
Yeah, I brought us here, and I will wrap us up. But yeah, that was just one thing that I know that we put a lot of kind of shit talking out there, and I'm showing the listeners of the life on the 50 that I can hold myself accountable to when we're wrong. And tip my cap to Carson Beck and the Hurricanes for getting their first win of the year of a high quality opponent. But that does bring us to the second kind of phase of the podcast, which we know and love. And this week is always a fun one, always a lot of shit talk, always a lot of statements being made. And my goodness, I don't know where to begin. But if I may, Cole, could I give my description of Iowa last week so then we can kind of hurry to the actual game coming up this week?
Yeah, I'm dying to hear what you thought of the Iowa game.
Okay, so a couple things here. First off, our run game looked quite strong. We also were playing against the University of Albany. Number two, our quarterback. Oh man, what are my gut feelings?
Oh man, is right.
Yeah, I want to give him grace, and I'm going to, because I'm a Hawkeye fan through and through, and I'm thinking that he just needs a little bit of time to settle in. But the thing that really stood out to me, Cole, is on that first drive, we go down there, we're marching down the field, and there are two just awful throws, and he just seemed so uncomfortable in the pocket, which is so strange to me, because in the past it's been Iowa quarterbacks who have maybe been quick to the trigger, maybe thrown a bad ball. I saw some good pockets. And I saw a guy that felt as if he was running for his life when he wasn't. And I'm just like, Mark, we're playing Albany right now. Like, if you can't handle a pocket against Albany, what makes you think you're going to compete in any way, shape, or form? So my delusional mind tells me that that's just a week one woe and that will settle in. But boy, if that does not settle in, oh my God. And then finally, our defense is not our defense of the past. I had thought that we were going to tighten the bolts there and really kind of pour it on. We got a lot of new faces and a lot of new places. So I'm not going to be, a fan that, delusionally thinks we're going to win a lot of games, or, thinks that we're going off because we barely beat Albany. But there better be a lot of growth that happens throughout the season. And especially with an opponent like Iowa State this week, we got to really put our fucking big boy pants on, because this is probably one of the best Iowa State teams we're going to be facing in a long time. So that's my take on Iowa last week, bleeding into Iowa State and Iowa this week.
I had two things on the Iowa game. Both had to do with the quarterback, but neither had to do with the passing game.
Okay.
I don't love calling quarterback runs against inferior opponents. This is just like a fan thing in me. This has nothing to do with like any sort of scheme talk or game planning or like even me knowing what I'm talking about. But like when you are having to run the quarterback, when you're having to like run quarterback design runs against an inferior opponent like the University of Albany, to me that says, oh shit, things aren't going well. Because you work all off season to have a running game that's focused on running back, finding holes amongst the offensive line, all of the blocking schemes that happen up front. Hey, we're going to double team here. The next guy climbed to the second level, linebackers, safeties, whatever. Tackles, are blocking out in front. Iowa very famously uses their tight ends and their fullbacks really, really well. When you're having to mix in like quarterback design runs, a little bit of the read option type of stuff, I don't like that, because to me that tells me you are scrambling, and against an inferior opponent like the University of Albany,
Ooh.
oh boy, don't love it. And then the other thing, just kind of going off of that, seeing them run the tush push at twice on the goal line, hated it. Oh, Iowa running the tush push is like the grossest thing I've ever seen. It's just, I mean, the Eagles do it. Like, it's the Eagles thing. And Iowa running the tush push looks nothing like it should. It's just big guys trying to push other big guys like 2 or 3 yards ahead. Going back, like we saw that try to happen in the Ohio State Texas game with Arch Manning, and they got stonewalled. I mean, Iowa running the tush push against the University of Albany is just something I don't need to ever see again. Get it off my screen. I can't believe I had to see it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do Iowa State right now? You want me to go to Iowa State? Because I'm going to give it to you.
Not quite yet. I want to make one more comment, and then you have absolutely your own time to dive in here. So in terms of quarterback runs, I see your point. I think it is a little bit of desperation, but coming from the quarterbacks that we have had, in some ways, it was quite refreshing to see a guy that could go out and make a play. Is he going to be able to do that against Penn State? Is he going to be able to do that against Iowa State? Is he going to be able to go out and do that against some of these really top-notch defenses? God, no. Or he's going to get fucking lit the fuck up and go down. However, just the ability to do it does speak volumes to showing you how low the bar is for us Iowa fans when it comes to our quarterback play. The tush push, I'm gonna contradict you pretty hard. I think you're just a fucking Cyclone fan, that you guys have a high flying offense and that's sweet and roses or not. But for me, fuck it. However we get our ass across the goal line, that's all I care about.
If you can't line up in the I formation down at the goal line and get 2 or 3 yards with your fullback or your running back, what are we doing? What are you talking about? This is like, you're not in the NFL, and you were playing the University of Albany. The tush push is meant for when you're playing Nebraska, in late November or whatever, to go to a conference championship game, and you need to score. Like, you need to pound it in, and like you don't know if your running back can punch that thing in or not. That's when the tush push is for. The Philadelphia Eagles run the tush push against the NFL defenses. Some of the best NFL defenses in like the league, top 5 NFL defenses. You guys are running the tush push against Albany.
Hey,
Albany.
It works. It got the job done, and it will come again. Because maybe what we do is we decide that every game when we have an opportunity to do it, this is our opportunity to get it across the goal line. And I have to remind you, and I do so with a little bit of fire now that we're getting into the rivalry. Iowa has to just score a couple times, because notoriously our defense was going to take care of the rest. Now, I don't know if that's the truth this year. However, anytime we can fucking score points, my guy, we are taking it as Iowa fans.
That's an Iowa fan's prerogative that I don't
That's
even want
right.
to like. I don't want to. I don't want to get inside the mind of an Iowa fan. Okay, so here we go. Iowa State, South Dakota. What 55-7?
How a game's supposed to be right there. I'll give you guys. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, inferior opponent. Always scary because it's like, are you going to come out flat, especially after a big win against a conference opponent across the pond? Came out first play, big play down the middle of the field. And just like from the rip, it was just from play one, Nick. We were a better team. We get down to the goal line. I believe this was the touchdown to Ben Brammer in the corner. I have to say this because watching Iowa State, like, it is what spawned this thought, but it does ring true. Having a good tight end in college football in general is such a mismatch. Like,
Oh yeah.
they talk in the NFL about how big of a mismatch tight ends are. Dude, if you have a good tight end in college football, my God, that is a mismatch, and that's something like you can totally exploit a defense on because of the size difference, because of the wide catch radius, like the ability to get those guys the ball in space, and sometimes their ability to run after the catch. Like it's a big difference maker. And Iowa State's got 3 good tight ends.
Yeah. 3 great
Next
ones.
point, I can't stand Tim Brando and Devin Gardner calling Iowa State games. Tim Brando, I will say, he's sweetened my pot a little bit, just in the fact that kind of throughout the game he started glazing. Yes, I use the term glazing Iowa State and Abu Sama specifically. But those guys just annoy the hell out of me, and I get so freaking tired of them. I can't wait to have Gus Johnson call the Iowa State game this week because Gus Johnson is electric, dude. And
So
like
good.
seeing him in Ames with Jack Trice behind him is just going to be like listening to that all afternoon or all morning here is going to be so sick. They did it again. Iowa State ran a fucking pitch play inside the 5-yard line. Did you catch that?
I did not. Oh, that's so funny. What are we doing?
I couldn't believe it. I kid you not. I that was a moment I was sitting on my couch in awe with like my mouth open, just like jaw was on the floor. I'm like, I can't believe they did it again. They did it again, and it didn't work out again. I cannot believe they did it again.
So real quick, Cole.
Yeah.
Just for the lifers that listen to this show, what's worse, the tush push or pitching the ball back 5 yards when you're on the fucking half-yard line?
What's worse?
Yeah.
Well, you have to give context, but like without any context, I will agree with you. Pitching the ball on the 5-yard line, pitching the ball backwards when you're on the 5-yard line
Or
is
less
crazy.
on the fucking 1-yard line.
Now, when you're telling me that we're tush pushing against the University of Albany, like, okay, that's way worse. Line up in the I formation, give the ball to your fullback, and let him punch it in. Come on, what are we doing? Getting to the defensive side of the ball, the Iowa State defense is the epitome of slow burn. What do I mean by that? Early on in games, yes, opposing offenses are going to move the ball. They're even going to score. But, dude, over time, Iowa State's defense is like – it's like an anaconda, and it just slowly closes in on you until you're forced into, like, a handful of things that you can do, and then it continues to close it. Like, they identify those 5 things that you can do or you're trying to do, and it just squeezes the life out of you. And it's like, it's maddening to watch in like the first quarter and even like kind of the second quarter, but they go into the half, they identify what the opposing offense is trying to do. And like, even like, especially a team like this, Iowa State's going to have the ability to force teams to throw the ball this year.
Yeah.
And if it's just one of those things on defense where it's like, we're going to slowly continue to clamp in on the offense and force them into passing situations where we're getting home with 3 three down linemen and maybe a blitzing linebacker, and then you have everybody else in coverage, like you're going to be forcing some quarterbacks to throw in pretty tight windows. And late in games, that favors a defense, at least in college football.
Yeah, and let me throw this out here too, Cole, because I do think this is a very, very good time for me to mention this. So I know that it is rivalry week, and obviously, fuck the Cyclones. That's an appropriate thing to say this week. I plus Iowa going to Ames is like I think 4 or 5-0 in our rivalry. Just gonna throw that out there. But
Okay.
doesn't it feel good to have a high caliber defense that can do that? And I only say that because our defense and our special teams had been our pride and joy for at least 5 years when we had the worst offense in college football. So the fact that Iowa State has really, truly become maybe one of the more well-rounded teams in all of college football, if not the most well-rounded team in the Big 12, how does it feel to have that kind of talk about your defense like that? It's got to feel great.
Well, it feels good to have like a good offense married with a good defense for sure. It's not like I will say it's not the dominant defense that teams like Iowa or you think like Georgia, some of the defenses they've had.
Right.
Like it's not the dominant defenses that like they can score on their own. Like they get turnovers and scoop and score or pick six multiple times a season. Like it's not that, but if we're going to force teams late in games to throw, and we're, like I said, we're getting home with three down linemen and maybe a linebacker blitzing every now and then, like, the Big 12, I think, has some good quarterbacks, but they don't have Joe Burrow. They don't have
Oh yeah.
Patrick Mahomes. They don't have, like guys that do it at an elite level. And the only time that we'd be seeing a guy like that is in the college football playoff. And by that point, like, I'm just Mr. Happy to be there. If we get to that point, I'm happy to be there. And it's like all it takes is a stroke of luck, to win one or two games in that and get some momentum. But
Right.
I'm not getting ahead of myself. It's different because it's not the dominant defense that Iowa's had maybe 2 or 3 years ago,
Yeah, not this
or
year for sure.
Georgia's had 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. But it's cool to know that we've got a ton of depth at linebacker. We've got really quality, like quality defensive linemen that can take on a double team and win, or at least like free up our linebackers to move, shake and move, and then a secondary that's just gonna like create hell for quarterbacks. Next point on Iowa State, to the special teams, 63 fucking yards.
Oh, that was incredible.
63 fucking yard field goal.
That's
And
incredible.
it was like no questions asked. Matt Campbell looks at the kicker. Hey, do you want to kick it? Kicker's
Banged
like,
it.
yeah, I want to kick it. He's like, fucking bang it. Let's go. We're kicking it.
Banged
63
it.
yards. It had, like, it would have been good from like 65 or
Yeah.
66. Like, it was a bomb. And the kicker and the hold, like, it was the kicker or the holder. Like, one of the guys knew it right off the foot. Like, you could see him celebrate before the ball even crosses the end zone, let alone the goalposts.
That's like a
I
guy
mean, the
having
long
like an emotionless chip in where he's just like, what am I out? 50 yards? Okay, banged it.
robot. He's a robot. Kyle Conrarty,
That's an
same
incredible accomplishment.
the same Kyle Conrarty that kicked the game-winning field goal against Iowa at Kinnick last year. Just saying, FYI, FYI, Nick.
I knew you were going to bring that up. That's
You want to
great.
talk about Iowa State? We got the same guy, and he's kicking them further and straighter than he did last year. He's more reliable. So yeah,
If
I
I
don't
may,
want to. I don't
Cole.
hear about how we doing it. How we doing at Jack Trice Stadium? What's our record at Jack Trice Stadium? I don't care. We won last year at Kinnick because our kicker, who just kicked a 63-yard field goal last week, kicked a game-winning field goal against you guys last year. So
and
suck it.
your
That's what
and your unbelievable quarterback and NFL caliber receiver said, "What's that? 22 seconds? Say less. Bang, bang, bang. Field goal. Game
right.
over."
Yeah, Rocco Beck looks awesome. And again, I'll just say it, like, the tight ends are the X factor for this team.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that I'm not going to get too far into predictions right now, but the one thing I do want to add that's somewhat unrelated, then we can get to the prediction of the game for both of us, or if there's any other things you'd like to mention, I'm here for it. The oddest thing about this rivalry that I really think is so crazy is I want to say the away team has had like I don't know how to phrase this properly, so you probably know how to do that, but I think the away team is the like undefeated for the last like 7 years or something of that.
I mean, I can look that up really quick.
Yeah, the away team in the rivalry is the one that has generally won the game. If I think at least 5 years back, which is the most uncharacteristic element of a rivalry I've ever heard. Of course, it would be Iowa and Iowa State that would have such a situation like that.
Well, I mean that
You
that
can't
would
win
be
at home, but you win on the road against your rival. That's so strange.
I mean, that's so Iowa. That's also so Iowa State.
Yeah.
What? Okay, so last matchup was 20-19 Iowa State
On the road.
If we go, yeah, Iowa State won in Iowa City. Then the year before that, Iowa State lost in Ames.
Okay, that's 2
The
for
year
2.
before, 2022, Iowa State won in Iowa City.
Okay, there's 3 for 3.
2021, Iowa State lost in Ames.
That's 4.
2020, there was not a game.
Boo.
2019, Iowa State lost in Ames.
That's 5 in a row. Yeah, so the last 5 fucking victors is the away team. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not saying we're winning this year because I think that this is the year of all years. Iowa State could probably beat us by 2 or 3 scores. Like you guys could. Matt Campbell actually really needs this game, I think, for his career resume. Not so much of the need of the victory, but the career resume. Just to say he beat Kirk Ferentz, I think is a big deal.
He beat Kirk Ferentz in Iowa and Kinnick last year.
Yeah, I know, but I just you got to win more at home, guy. He's got to win more at home against his rival.
I completely disagree with you. I think his career resume is pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. Not to mention we beat Iowa last year and got to the conference championship game. I mean, that's pretty good just in 1 year.
Oh, I love the ruffling of the feathers. This is awesome. Rivalry week.
I mean, we're here, right? Like that's everything I had from last week. We're here. It's rivalry week. Like, do we want to? Are we ready to talk this game before we get to other games on the slate?
Absolutely, we're ready to talk this game.
All right, hit me with what you got. I'm ready for it.
So it's going to pain me to say this, but it is the truth. This game this year is all about Iowa State's ability to.
It's all right. That's actually a perfect.
I will never just back down to my interstate
editing
rival.
point.
Like fuck that.
Now
I think that if there's any one game we can win on the road, it is this one. We've proven that. I'm a realist at heart. I don't know how much we can turn from week 1 to week 2, especially watching Iowa State, how they finished last year, how they've begun this year, unless they just completely fuck it up, which they have done many times in the past. I'm not sure if Iowa can take them down. If at all, I'm going to say 35-21 Iowa State. That is my prediction on this game. I am, yes, based on what I've seen. I know it really is, but like I said, I'm a realist. I'm not going to come out here and say that Mark Gronkowski is going to fucking dice it up, nor am I going to say that our defense is going to put clamps.
You, as an Iowa fan, are claiming that Iowa State's going to win by 14?
That's what I'm saying.
Wow,
dude.
Nick, this is a new low for you.
We're not going to run the ball for 350 yards against Iowa State.
You're Oh, I'm not going to say Mark Gronkowski or whatever his name is going to dice it up. He's not that good. He's not that good to dice. He's not good
Sure.
enough to dice up any defense, let alone he couldn't dice up Albany. He's not going to dice up Iowa State.
Yeah. But
Uh,
also, like, I've been a part of this tradition for many, 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 many
no,
years, and I've seen how
I
these
will
games
say,
play
like,
out, and
you will
just
probably
like
see the
obviously
running
Brock
game have
Purdy
a
era
better
and
week
before that.
this week
And I
against Iowa
just
State,
I
simply
just
due to the fact that we
feel
run the
that
three
this
man
year
like front
is
instead of a
the
4-man
year that I
defensive
am
line.
anticipating my Iowa State
It
friends
just
to
it
let me
lends
have it.
itself to giving up
I've let them have it for
a few
many
more
different
big
types of
runs, if
games
you
in the
will.
past, stretches of years in the past, and I just think the tides have slightly turned. Well, I just feel like sometimes when your little brother gets beat on so much, you just got to let him have one every once in a while. And I feel like that's the relationship we have.
Did we not let you have it enough after last year? What did we not give it to you enough? Did we not rub your nose in it enough last year, driving down the field with like almost no time left, kicking a game winning field goal? That's like the most heartbreaking way to lose. What do you want us to just kick the crap out of you this year? Newsflash,
Oh,
Nick. Newsflash, much like the relationship that I have with my younger brother, there was a point where,
yeah.
yeah,
The
I
only thing
whipped
I
up
am
on
going to
him
linger on is the
consistently.
fact
He
that
is now
Iowa
bigger
is
and
what three,
stronger than I
4-0
am.
on the road
So
in Ames.
little
So
brother
we'll hang on. We'll hang.
is
Maybe Kirk
got
has
receipts,
a
and little
magical
brother is
potion
coming
that
for
he
that
can
ass this
put in
week.
the water for the boys
Little
this
brother
Saturday.
is
But
bigger and
unless that
stronger than
happens,
older brother
actually, I
now.
take that
If
back.
that's how
Let me
you want
throw
to
one more
look at
thing
it,
in there.
it's a
So he
Cyclone
just
state, buddy.
tied
It has been for the last
a coach last
365
year or
days when this
last
podcast
week
comes
for the
out.
most wins in Big Ten. I think it's or most wins as a Big Ten coach. This next game would give him the record. So maybe there is just a little bit of extra caffeine and motivation for Kirk on the road against his in-state rivalry to go ahead and obtain that. But I think we'll also get that in due time over the season.
Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Do you think a single player on the Iowa roster gives a crap about some record of wins that Kirk Ferentz could get? It doesn't matter to them. The only person that matters to is Kirk Ferentz, so that he can then ride off into the sunset after this year as the winningest head coach in Big Ten history. I'll tell you what, Matt Campbell is damn sure knows that this game could be the record breaker for Kirk Ferentz. And Matt Campbell damn sure knows that in Ames, he hasn't won against Iowa. And Matt Campbell damn sure knows that this is not the week for a letdown spot. So I'm going to tell you what, Nick, I wouldn't be surprised if this game looks a lot like the South Dakota game. Is that my official
Mm.
prediction? No. But boy, could I see Iowa State want to come out and just put belt to ass on the Hawkeyes this week, dude. I already know, I wish I could be a fly on the wall at practice this week for Iowa State, because I know all the bulletin board material is still there for the Cyclones. It's all there. And I think Iowa's complacent. I think Iowa is just fine getting out of this game 1-1, moving on to whatever cupcake team that they've got the following week, or maybe they have a bye. They play UMass next week,
Yeah, I'd
like
like
after
that.
this game.
I'd like that
They
a
want
lot.
to
Mine was
stroll
thirty-five
back to
twenty-one.
Kinnick, play
What was
UMass,
yours?
win by 17 or win by 10, whatever it is. They don't care about this game the same way that the Cyclones do. The Cyclones are going to come in hungry, dude. We got
Wow,
something to
that
play
close of a
for.
game? That's
We're 2 and
surprising to
0.
me after
Keep
all of
that
that.
going. 3-0. Uh I mean, do you want my official prediction? 35-21. Uh, yeah, I mean, I like 30.
Mm.
I like the 35 number, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be 27-20 Cyclones.
Yeah,
I
my
do.
thoughts and
I think
prayers
most of
to
the, I think
Mark
most of the
that he
points
just
that the
finds an
Hawkeyes are going to
incredible groove
score are
in
going to
the
be in the first
next
half. I think they're going to
couple
get locked.
days,
Like I
because
could see a
if
world
we can't make
realistically
a
where
20-yard
we go into
pass to score a
halftime
touchdown
like
against Albany,
2014
I just don't
Hawkeyes,
know how well we're
and
going
then
to
the Cyclones
shape
like
up
run away with it
against
in the
Iowa
second
State,
half.
who has
Um,
already beaten
but
their
like I'm
rival
not
on
leaving
the
the door
road
open to,
and
or I'm
could
not
not
closing the
appear
door on the
more
fact
well
that Iowa
oiled.
State may just blow Iowa out of the water. No, no. Yeah, like I mean, I think you'll see improvement. I think with any college team, you're going to see the most improvement from week 1 to week 2. That's
Yep,
just like a
yep.
fact. I mean, I heard Nick Saban say that earlier today, so I'm stealing that from him. Greatest, like arguably greatest coach of all time. Uh, but
Right?
so you'll see an improvement from Iowa. You're also like we know what Iowa State is at this point. You saw the improvement from week 0 to week 1 with the Cyclones, dude.
Absolutely. Gotta
It's
love it.
like
Gotta
it's
love it.
on. It's
Um,
on, but I'm not discounting the
Beautiful,
fact
man.
that rivalry game, big noon kickoff is going to be there. Like the whole, every like this is the second biggest game of the week when you factor in the Michigan Oklahoma game by national
Yeah, that
standards.
sounds really good, my guy.
And
Let's
yeah, dude, it like
conclude the life on the
that big a
50 on a
deal.
really solid
Rivalry
note.
game, you can't discount that fact. That makes the game play a little bit tighter. Yeah, beautiful. Do you want to you want to talk?
So
You want to talk some other
apparently,
games on the
yeah,
slate just really
apparently
quick, and
Illinois
do
is
some
highly
picks and get out of
touted.
here?
I know that they had a good year last year, I think, but I'm kind of shocked at the preseason ranking with them
Okay.
and just
Uh,
kind of who they are. Because
we
if I
kind of narrowed
remember
down
right,
the
they had
list, so
was it a
we can be
senior
sort of quick about
quarterback last year
this.
that graduated, or
We
am I
don't
making
necessarily
that
need a ton
up?
of analysis on it, but Illinois Duke. What's your take there? Any observations? Any
Ooh, okay, that's
feelings?
maybe
Any?
why they're ranked, because I know he was fairly decent in terms of just competitor. But yeah, I would love to see Illinois again. I'm going back to my Big Ten roots. I'd love to see Illinois take that game pretty handedly.
Illinois' quarterback is Luke Altmaier, and he is back this year. Yeah.
Yeah, that seems a little much,
The
but
other thing about that, Duke's got a good quarterback. I mean, he's not like a Heisman favorite or anything like that, but I mean, he's solid. Like I think that could make for I don't know. It makes for interesting ball anytime you're like one team has a really good quarterback. I'm not super high on Luke Altmaier. I sort of agree with you. I'm not exactly sure why Illinois is like. I mean, they're ranked number 11 in the country. Uh, to me, that's like, why are we giving them
very winnable
that
schedule.
standing? I
Yeah,
guess
very
they're a
winnable
Big Ten
schedule.
team. They had some success maybe in the Big Ten last year, but I mean, they're also a team like the Big Ten in general. It's tough. Now, I will say, I'm looking at
Oh
Illinois'
yeah.
schedule right now. Like the Big Ten teams that they play are Indiana, USC, Purdue, Ohio State, Washington, Rutgers, Maryland, Illinois, and Northwestern. They got the easiest. I mean,
So they got a chance.
you want
Not
to
a
talk
good one, but a
about
chance.
having an easy road? Like that's about as that. Dude, you think about the schedule and the road that Indiana had last year? That's pretty similar in terms of like the level of team that they're having to play. They're having to play one, I guess, in my opinion, one tough game, but like in Ohio State. But even that game's in Champaign, Illinois. They definitely got a chance when you're playing when you have a highly ranked team like Ohio State's going to be at that point because that's
Oh
mid
sure.
October. When you have a team like that coming. into your house, you got a chance because like you don't need the pregame speeches for a game like that. You don't need to be out there screaming for the students to come to like students come to
So
the
tell me a
game. Like
little
we
bit
need everybody
about
to show up.
SMU
Like they're
because I
showing up for
know
that game.
traditionally
That's going to
they've
be a
had their
game at
seasons, but
night.
what's the
Everybody
early
and their
news in their
mother
camp?
in
Because
Champaign,
Baylor,
Illinois is going to be going
who
to
did
that game. Like
Baylor play
town's
last week,
closing down
or
to go
this
to that
just this
game.
last week?
And the place will be rocking. That's a game that, yeah, like
And I didn't catch
you
that
don't
game.
need
Who
all the
ended up
pomp and
winning that?
circumstance to get up for. That's a big one. Uh, Next game, Baylor SMU. Baylor.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
Baylor played
Yeah,
Auburn
sorry to
on
cut you off
Friday
there. Go
night.
ahead if you had any other comment.
Auburn won 38-24. Auburn's quarterback, Jackson Arnold, looked pretty good against the Baylor defense. Uh,
Mm.
Kind of one of those SEC Big 12 things that's like they're two teams that are probably going to be they're both going to probably fall middle of the pack in their respective conference. No, the interesting thing about this game is Baylor's 0-1, right? And to my point, minutes ago of like, I think you see the biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2. I think we're going to see that with Baylor. I mean, Baylor's head coach, Dave Aranda, is a defensive, not wizard, but like he's a defensive specialist, I guess we'll say. Like the dude churns out good defenses, even though he doesn't have your traditional 5-star, like highly touted players or even guys that are going in the
Yeah.
first round of the draft at any given position. He just they play defense really, really well. The interesting thing though about this game to me is SMU, because SMU's quarterback Kevin Jennings is
Mm.
like, I mean, I talk about who did I say is kind of like Lamar Jackson? I don't know. One of the kids in the country. Oh, Kansas quarterback
Yes.
Jalen Daniels. I said he's kind of a Lamar Jackson, dude. This Kevin Jennings, number 7 quarterback for SMU, is kind of the same way to me. Like I don't think he throws the ball quite as well. I would compare him more to Jalen Milroe, who was the quarterback of Alabama last year. Um, I see a lot of similarities in this Kevin Jennings game to the Florida State quarterback this year. I think they're elite at making plays, kind of when the like they'll run around, they'll make plays, they'll get completions that way. Do they play in structure very well? I don't think so, but elite runners with the football, they're playmakers. That's just what they are. Like they're playing backyard football back there, and they're good at it because they're superior. They're like elite athletes. So
Oh yeah.
to me, that makes it interesting because I want to watch the SMU offense play the Baylor defense and see the strides that the Baylor defense makes. Um, but I also think like Baylor's offense has a ton of potential because their quarterback is like Sawyer Robinson, and he's a
Yeah.
senior. He's from Texas. Like he's a Texas kid, and he's got experience. And I think experience, especially early in the year, like I was talking about with LSU and Garrett Nussmeier, with all of these Big 12 quarterbacks that you've got that are back. Um, I I just think I'm interested to see what Baylor does because they're a team that I could really see going one way or the other. Like if they lose this game, I could see them sort of falling apart, and everybody is kind of like 2 losses. That's going to be tough to come back from, even though they're not conference losses. But it's like you start 0-2, the mindset there is like, ooh, yikes! This could fall off a cliff pretty quickly if the ship doesn't get corrected fast. Um, but they win. They beat the number 17 team in the country. Like that's a momentum builder in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. And SMU is always that team that kind of flirts around a little bit. But Baylor, I'd like to say that they're a team that when they're good, college football is good. I don't think that is as true as other programs, but um, you know, just a developing little thread. Just a developing little thread, I think, in college football, again, to kind of keep your
Yeah.
eye on.
Yeah. Next game is Ole Miss, Kentucky. I don't know if you have anything here. To me, this is just more about Ole Miss than it is Kentucky. Um, Ole Miss, like I think they played like Georgia Southern or something like that, or Georgia State. And they ran it up. And Lane Kiffin is so famous for just like he will score at will and doesn't give a shit about anybody. Um, it's an SEC conference
Yeah.
game, week 2. Like it's getting their conference schedule started. Um, and to me, it's more of the okay early conference game. Like this really sets the tone for are you going to be a team that competes or are you going to be a team that the preseason ranking was fun and good and obviously Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin like they're going to be a team that offensively people look at and when you're watching games on Saturday and they cut away to a game break like you're going to see Ole Miss scoring 50-yard touchdowns just because that's the offense they run and it's kind of go big or go home but I mean, they're the 20th, like Ole Miss is the 20th ranked team in the country. You're playing a Kentucky team that, let's see, who did they beat last week? They beat, Toledo, but it was an 8-point game. So it's like you played a MAC team. It's not super
Yeah.
impressive. I mean, unless Toledo's going to be good this year. I don't know. Kind of one of those things that for me is just an interesting game. It's going to be the ABC game, so it's going to be national television in the afternoon window. For me, that's kind of an interesting spot to watch, especially this week when there's not a ton of high
I
profile
always
games.
enjoy these type of games early in the season when they've graduated a big time quarterback. And my thing is always this on Ole Miss, and this could again be very wrong. It's just my personal opinion. They've always been a kind of team that whenever they get to big moments, they fold. They're a team that's great at beating who they're
Yep.
supposed to. It's a perfect like the SEC version of Penn State. They beat who they're supposed to beat, but anytime they're in a big game, they just can't seem to get it done. The Oh, sorry, did my mic go out again?
Nope, you're
Okay,
good.
interesting. It's giving me weird noises, but um, so yeah, just to get right back on track with that. So I would just be curious to see how they do against Kentucky. This early in the season, but yeah, maybe it's a young kid making a name. Do they have a senior quarterback? What's their quarterback situation looking like, if you don't mind me asking?
Uh, Kentucky's quarterback, I believe it's Zach Calzada. Let me fact check that really fast. Yeah, Zach Calzada, who's a senior. I mean, experience. Like you're getting experience with him. Kind of the big thing, if I'm not mistaken, Zach Calzada was the guy last year that I think transferred from UNLV. Uh, and he had like a whole deal about his um, yeah, well, he was another one of those guys that was a Texas A&M quarterback. That's right. Um, he transferred to Incarnate Word, which is like an FCS school apparently. But he came into college with Texas A&M. I mean, he's kind of a guy that's in the long list of Texas A&M quarterbacks that just haven't worked out. But he's in the SEC playing for Kentucky. They put up 24 points on Toledo. I don't know. Um, kind of a kind of a we'll see game is what I think too. Next game is Kansas Missouri. This one for me is fun because Kansas. I like Kansas again. They're scary. Jalen Daniels and I don't like Missouri. So flat out, I want to see Kansas sort of put it on Missouri, but to me, this is a test
Yeah,
of
what is
is Missouri the
that?
real deal or not? Because they blew out Central Arkansas. Can they? Can they whoop up on a team that I think can score at will in Kansas?
Yeah, that's fair.
Kansas. And
We'll see. Be a good game.
Yep.
Well, and I think that what's always fun early in the season is a team like Kansas and be oh, hold on just one second. I just heard an echo pretty bad
Yeah.
there. Let me switch on and switch off. Okay, so you can hear me. All right, let me mark that down. 134. Okay, and then we'll. Sorry, I'll get back in. It's just my headphones are going a little spunky there, but all right. 3-2. So a game like this,
Missouri has this
Kansas, if
quarterback
they go
named
out
Bo
and swing a big hammer,
Brabula, I think it
that's a
is.
phenomenal start to their
Pribula.
campaign. And again,
I
this is a
think I
team
could
that's
be
just
wrong. I'm
looking
not
to.
going to fact check this.
It's
I'm
like
just going
one
to
of those
roll with it.
teams that
I
you
think
just
he was
don't
at
really hear
Auburn
about too
before
much,
he
and they've been
transferred
slowly doing this,
to
drawing
Missouri.
X's
There could have
every
been one
single
stop in between there, but
on teams that they're just fucking up a little bit,
I
and you're
don't
just
like
like,
him at
oh
all. Like I
shit,
think
Kansas beat Missouri by 3 scores.
like I don't
Oof,
hate him. Like I hate
you know,
Carson
just
Beck,
things like that. And
but I
I
find
wish that for
him
Kansas.
to
I
just
have
not
no
be a good
relation to
quarterback,
Missouri. I
and
don't
he
care about
falls into
Missouri.
the
They can
perfect,
get
like
their
he's the
shit
perfect
stomped by
Missouri
the
quarterback
Jayhawks.
because he
Continue the
falls into the
Heisman
mold of
campaign
like
for that
he
quarterback for
looks good and
Kansas.
plays
I
good. The
want
stats are
Kansas all
good
the way
against
there.
bad teams, and then you play a good team. And Kansas is a good team. Now, are they a great defense? No, but they can score a ton and they can keep up with Missouri. And it's like, is Bo Prabula going to feel the pressure of trying to keep up and score alongside Kansas? And like, is he going to try too hard and that's going to lead to mistakes? My personal, feelings is like, yes, because I trust Jalen Daniels with Kansas. I don't trust Bo Prabula or Missouri at all. Next game, moving on. Florida against South Florida, UCF. UCF, South Florida, kicked the crap out of Boise State on Thursday night. Big time surprise because you look at Boise State, they were 25th in the nation coming in and just got stomped on by USF. Like I said at the beginning, South Florida, USF is on my list of teams that I'm kind of like got my eye on for that group of 5, that G5 college football playoff spot. And then Florida's dominant. They got that quarterback DJ Lagway. He's gonna be in the conversation for Heisman at the end of the year. I think they got a real shot to be a top tier team in the SEC this year, considering that Bama might be bad and we don't really know how dominant Georgia is yet this year. I think Florida's kind of a team that, like, if their quarterback continues to progress, I think they're going to progress alongside like Texas, and I think like Florida right now is just above Texas, and if both teams progress at the same rate, you're obviously, Florida's just a touch better than Texas right now, and I don't know. Any thoughts? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is going to sound a little strange for this game considering the nature of it, but I think this is a must win for
Possibilities
Florida.
there.
I think Florida
Next game
really needs
is
to
Arizona
find
State, Mississippi
who the
State.
fuck they are.
This is another one
And
where it's
almost the
like I hate
reverse is
Sam Levitt because he's
Alabama.
good and it's
Like
annoying and I
Alabama
hear
had
about it
just that
every day or
incredible
at least a
run
couple
for
times a
the
week.
longest time.
Kenny
Obviously,
Dillingham,
new head
Father, Son, Holy
coaching
Spirit type
change,
of
but
thing down here.
this is a program,
Mississippi
and I
State,
said it
they're just
last
an
week, that
SEC
when they're
team.
great, college
So like
football is
that's
great,
kind of
and we
interesting.
need to
They
find
played
some
against each
footing
other
for
last
Florida.
year
Like no
in
more of
Tempe.
these like
This year the
7 and
game
5
is
seasons. Like
in
we need to find a season where we
I
can
don't even know
have
where
maybe
Mississippi
2 to
State
3
is.
losses
Starkville, Mississippi, or
max,
something like that. Maybe,
and
who
really
knows?
take a stride.
Uh,
So I think this
but
is all pressure on Florida, but I
it's
also
one
think
thing to
Florida's
like
capable
beat
of winning this football
Northern
game in big
Arizona at
big
home,
fashion.
like ASU did this last week. It's another thing to like go on the road in an SEC environment. I don't care where it is. Even though Mississippi State is a bottom feeder in that conference, it's still an SEC environment. You're going to have a ranked ASU team coming into town, and SEC crowds and fan base, like they'll get up for that game. That'll be a tough environment to go into. Fully expect ASU to look good and beat them, but I think this is kind of a spot where if you're looking at upsets, Mississippi State comes out, they score early, and ASU, maybe has a tough time getting going, or they sputter early. This could be a spot where you're looking at an upset, maybe. I think talent prevails in this. Like I think ASU is just simply more talented than Mississippi State, and that prevails. Quite frankly,
Well, and
now
to the point
I
of the
say that in
SEC,
a
I
couple
think that
like
there's
literally
always a
seconds
level of
ago. I said here's a
physicality
spot
that's
where you
played
could see an
there, and
upset. So I'm
I
talking out of
will
both
be
sides of my
curious
mouth.
how Arizona
But
State
it's like I mean
handles
it's
that
true. Like you have
physicality.
Sam
I
Levinson,
know they
top
can,
five
and I know they're
quarterback at
capable, and
least
they have the talent,
considered
but
nationally right
you're on the
now.
road in the SEC. I don't care who it
And
is.
they
You're gonna
ASU
they're
has
gonna
one of the
show up for
best
that
wide
game.
receivers
So
in the country.
for
Name's
me
Jordan Tyson
personally, being
that
a
like
fan of the Big
nobody
Ten,
talks about, which is
to
crazy
me,
to me.
I
Or at
watch this
least
game from
is it?
afar with
Maybe they
no,
talk about him, but
prior
in my
ties
mind
or
they don't talk
anything, and
about him
I
enough.
get my popcorn and I just
Again, it's all
acknowledge this
annoying
game.
to me
This is
because I have
just a
to
good
hear about it all
football
the
game.
time, and I'm tired of it. And I want ISU to kick crap out of them when we play them later in the year, but that's a different discussion. Next game is kind of the biggest game of the week,
Sure.
ranked unranked, Michigan Oklahoma. Thoughts, Nick? Oh,
Right. Yeah, I hate to say this so much outside of Penn State, but go Big Blue. Um, I think this is Michigan seems to be a team that can go on the road in hostile environments and compete
ooh,
well. I think that
maybe puts on the freshman
I don't
15.
I
Okay,
don't want to
okay.
say like this is a
Uh,
team that is in desperate need of a win because I feel like I say that about a lot of teams,
so
but
I will say the one thing about
Oklahoma has
Oklahoma
really
this
fallen
year
off the map
is
in a
they have a
lot of
transfer
different
quarterback named
conversations
John
about college
Mateer
football, and
who
it's too
comes
bad
over from
because they have one
Washington
of the most
State,
decorated
who
programs,
is he's
and
pretty
the fact that
solid.
they're
Like
not
he could play
even
the
I don't know,
position.
maybe I'm missing
To
this
what
because I'm
level? I
not an
think we're
avid
still finding that out, especially
analytic
in
type
the
of fan, but
SEC. We're gonna
I haven't
find
even
that
heard
out.
of them since they went to
Um,
the
but
SEC.
at the
I
very
mean, I
least, like
haven't
he was
even
a big.
they haven't been
That was a
flirted
pretty
with.
big
They haven't
get
been
for
thrown
Oklahoma
around at
getting a
all.
quarterback
It was
like
like that
that
girl that was hot in
who
high school that just
played at a
unfortunately
high
loses
level
it
in
in
Washington
college and you just
State.
never hear from her again,
Obviously,
you know?
Washington State, I think, over the years is considered a volume
Yeah, I'm just
passing
saying, like,
offense.
where have they
They like
what
to throw the
happened to
ball a lot.
them, you know?
And so the guy's just a natural thrower of the football. Um, it'll be interesting to watch though, because Michigan's obviously got a true freshman playing quarterback. He looked awesome, Bryce Underwood, this last week. I think he. I mean, I think once we get later in the year, like we're gonna look at that and be like, this dude has the. They may not have the success this year because he is a true freshman, and that can catch up to you, especially late in the season. But we're gonna look at this dude as like a legit guy um, that may lead into him transferring to a bigger program like a LSU where
Yeah.
he was committed to originally, or a Georgia, an Alabama, Texas, who knows? But um, we'll see. I really like that. Yeah,
Right. Yeah, I just think it's a great opportunity for a guy that's going to get some national spotlight to him, and an opportunity for him to show who he really
I
is
mean,
if
the
he is
biggest
this
thing is
number one
Michigan
recruit.
couldn't throw the football last
Going
year.
into
Like they
Norman,
didn't have a
and
quarterback that could throw the
it's
football.
Norman, right, for Oklahoma.
Bryce Underwood like can throw the
Yeah,
football.
and
He
showing
looks like
showing his arm off a little bit,
I
showing
think he
off what he
already looks
truly
like a
has.
legit
Because
college
as
quarterback.
much as Oklahoma,
So
has
it's
a
really going
decent
to be a
transfer
matter of
come in, I
like,
appreciate that, but
does he hit
they have
any
been
sort
just
of
off the
freshman
radar here for a
wall,
while. And who
or
knows? Maybe
like
this is what
late in
they
the
need to get
season,
back
can he
on the
play in the
spotlight. But I just see
elements?
this as a Michigan team that has done a lot of
And
winning,
what
and
does he look like
when
against
winning bigger games when
stiff
they need to.
competition in Oklahoma?
So yeah, I
Because
see them not
Oklahoma,
cruising to
they have a
victory, but
good
I
quarterback, but
see
they're
them
coached by
managing
a
from start to
defensive minded
finish.
head coach in Brent Venables. And so who knows what that could look like.
Right.
Last game preview wise, we'll do some picks and get out of here. UCLA, UNLV. It's a late night game, obviously out here on the West Coast. I just want UCLA to lose. That's all I got on that game. No. Yeah, you could definitely care less. It's going to be in Las Vegas. It's going to be at Allegiant Stadium, so it's kind of weird to see like it's weird to see games that are kind of shitty like this played in such a big like nice stadium. But that's where
Right.
UNLV plays their home football games, so like good for them.
Great
Uh,
game.
but yeah, again, I just want UCLA to lose because I don't like Nico Iamaleava anymore, and like, yeah, I'm tired of hearing about him. I want to see him fail.
Yeah, I have no comment here. It's
Okay,
just one of those
let's
things
pick
where
these
living in the
games. Let's get
Midwest, I
out of
just don't
here.
get
We'll call it
to
a
see a
week
lot of these
and
games, and
get to
it's
watching.
not one that trips my trigger this week.
Starting on
So
Friday. Well, Thursday if you're watching NFL, but Friday for college games. Iowa State pick segment. We're both taking Iowa State. Okay. Illinois Duke. Who you taking? Fighting Illini. I'm going to take Duke.
right,
Uh, Baylor SMU.
fuck them.
Okay, I'm taking Baylor. I think there's a jump. I think there's a jump this week. Ole Miss Kentucky.
Love it, man.
You think high scoring? Okay.
We're both taking Iowa State.
I'm taking Kentucky. I think they shut down
Fighting
Ole
Illini.
Miss's offense. I think it's much lower scoring than you think it will be. Yeah.
Oh
Kansas,
man,
Missouri.
I don't know enough about
Kansas, we agree
SMU,
on
but
that.
I'm going to take SMU
Florida,
in
South
this.
Florida.
I got Ole Miss winning
I'll
in a
go Gators as
gunslinging match.
well. I don't know exactly what the spread on this game
Yeah.
looks
I
like.
think there's
Just
going
in
to be a
terms of
typical
being
SEC
a
game
gambler. I
where
can
it's
look it
just,
up really quick
your
because
35-28
I don't
kind
know.
of
Some
game.
of these early games, like early in the season, you get spreads that are, quite frankly, a little ridiculous. And it's like, well, how did they get
Been a
there, or
gunfight.
how do they get to a point where they're,
Fair enough.
I don't know, coming up with
Got
that?
to go Kansas.
I'm not finding it. If I come back to it,
I
we
want to
can
go
come back
Gators.
to it if
I
I
really
find
do.
it.
I
I'm
want
not
to
finding
believe
it.
in their
Oh, I found it
rise.
right here.
But yeah, so we'll do
Florida
Gators.
minus 17 and a half. I'm taking the Gators to win outright, but I think I might take USF to cover later this week when I'm putting my bets in. ASU, Mississippi State. ASU going into an SEC environment. ASU's ranked. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to take Arizona State again. I just think talent prevails. I'm looking at it right now. It's a 6.5 point spread. So if ASU wins by a touchdown, they cover. I like that all day.
Yeah.
I think that's money in the bank. Michigan, Oklahoma. Michigan, I'm with you. Michigan, love the
I got
quarterback.
Mississippi.
And
I
then
got Mississippi State
UCLA,
on this one.
UNLV.
I
Are we
think
both
the
taking UNLV?
SEC or SEC environment. I think it just gets to them a little bit because I think that they're not maybe
Just
as
for that sake.
prepared, or it's just going to be a weird
Okay,
game for them where they just can't grab a
that's week
hold of it.
2.
And I think that they're going to kind of get a dose of reality a little bit there. Yeah. Michigan for sure. Yeah, just for the sake of saying fuck the quarterback at UCLA. That's a lame reason, but fair enough. That is week
Cyclones by
2.
14.
And first off, Cole, I always have to give you a lot of credit for coming as prepared as you do. I know me personally, I fucking eat this shit up, man. It really is a great conversation that we can look forward to every week to have. And for anyone listening to this, we hope you find joy in it as well too, because it is just the time of the year where detail matters, greatest sport on earth, and it's just I wouldn't have it any other way. So, as a parting thought, again, a lot of gratitude to your preparation, Cole. But thank you so much. Any sentiments before we wrap up on the second episode of Life on the 50? Cyclones by 14. He holds off and then he finishes with that. Okay, that's too funny. Well, cheers to rivalry week. We'll be texting back and forth. I'll end on a very clear message of fuck all the Cyclone fans. I don't give a shit who you think you are, but you're going down on Saturday. And I'm sure you feel the same for me being a Hawkeye fan. But for those that have tuned in, thank you so much. And until next time.